guys, I'm Valerie Lomas. I'm so glad you're here for this lattice crust tutorial from my new cookbook, Life is What You Bake It. So this is the crust that's in the photo of the Double-Crust Apple Pie on page 149. So you can see it right here. So you have the option to do a lattice crust. You could also do a more simple crust, but I wanted to do a demo because it's one of those things that when you see, you have that aha moment like, oh, and if you want to make it a little bit more simple, you can do wider strips. If you want a little bit more intricate detail, you can do thinner strips, but it all uses the exact same technique. So I'm going to show you guys that so that we can top our apple pie with a beautiful lattice crust. So the first thing I'm going to do, I've got some pie dough. In the book, there's a recipe for a flaky pie crust. You can use that, or you can buy a store-bought round of pie dough. So since this is going on top of the pie, it's important that you buy the pie dough from the store that you kind of unfurl, not one that's already in a pie pan, because you can't work with that. But with the one that you unfurl, you can work with it. You can roll it out to make it a little bit bigger, which we're gonna do for this, the top of our pie crust. So just gonna take a little bit of all-purpose flour, because I definitely don't want it to stick after I cut my lattice strips. And I'll just also put a little bit of flour on top. And I'm gonna grab my rolling pin, and I'm just gonna roll this a little bit bigger, because with lattice, you need more pie dough to cover the top of the pie. So I've got my rolling pin, and I'm just gonna roll it out just a little bit. And you can kind of move your pie dough around, again, just making sure that it doesn't stick to your surface. And I've got this blue mat that I use when I'm rolling out dough, but you can use your countertop, marble countertops. If you've got one of those, that works great. But any kind of countertop works. I'm just using this mat because my table is wood, and wood is kind of porous, and I don't want that. So I just rolled this out a little bit, and now I'm going to cut it into equal strips. So if you want to get like real fancy with your design, you can do some strips thin, some strips thick, but otherwise you can just do equal strips. So you can take a ruler, and if you want it super precise, take a ruler and a knife, and you'll just cut along the ruler in equal increments. And again, the size is up to you. If this is your first lattice crust, you might want to try to make it a little bit bigger. There's a really cool tool that we use in pastry. It's a bicycle cutter, because it kind of looks like, I don't know, a bicycle. And you can expand it or compress it to how thick you want your strips, and it just makes it like a total breeze to cut the strips. If you invest in one of these, be very careful. They are very sharp, and you don't want your fingers in the way as you're cutting it. So I'm gonna do kind of average strips for this demo. So I've got my bicycle cutter. It's at about 1 inch to 1.5 inch strips. All right, so I have my nice even strips. You're gonna need half of them you'll need half of the strips going in one direction, and then the other half going perpendicular to those strips. And the shorter strips you can use closer to the edge of your pie plate. So I'm just gonna kind of move my strips out of the way, and again, check and make sure that they're not sticking. If they're sticking, you can always add a little bit more flour. All right, so I have my pie. It's already got the bottom crust. It's got filling, and now we just need to add our strips. So I'm gonna start in the center of the pie, and I'm just gonna put one of my long strips right in the center, and I'm going to continue going along the pie. And again, you only want to use half of your strips going one way, and then the other half you can save for going the other way. So I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I've got 11 strips, so I'm only going to use 5 going one way, and then I'll save the other 5 to go the other way. That one's kind of short. Okay. All right. And now we're going to do the strips going perpendicular. Before you put your first strip on, you're going to move half of your strips out of the way. Then I'm going to take my long strip and put it right here, and then put the other half, put them right back where they were. And now continuing, this time I'm going to do the strips that I didn't move the last time. And again, I need a longer strip. I'm just gonna put it right here and then replace these. And I'm gonna continue alternating. So I'm gonna use this strip now, those first 3, and pull them back halfway. And then add a strip. And then replace them. And now I'm gonna do the other half. So I'm gonna start with these 2, pull them back, put one of my longer ones, replace this, and then I'm gonna do the 3 that I didn't do last time. You kind of see how it's done now. Replace this.
You can finish it off by gathering the pie edges and folding them under. You can seal the edges together with the tines of a fork.
And so here we have a lattice crust. And again, if you want a more intricate design, just cut your strips really thin, again with a knife, and you can eyeball it, or you can use a ruler, or you can get one of these handy dandy bicycle cutters. And you will have a gorgeous lattice crust. So thank you for watching this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and be sure to check out the other tutorials.